Hey everyone, welcome to an NFL video. This one we're breaking down the Monday Night Football Showdown slate, the Patriots versus the Jets. Before we continue though, if you could leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out and I really appreciate it. We're getting close to 3,000 subscribers, so I want to thank you guys for all the support. It's awesome. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at Crispinal16, and the NBA videos are coming out soon, so I'm excited for that. I'm sure you guys are as well. I think that's just about it, so without further ado, I say we get right into it. So we're going to start up top. We got Tom Brady, 11,600. He's the most expensive guy on the board, but it's deservedly so. He's pretty much the safest option on the slate, and he's got upside as well. Matchup's not amazing or anything, but it's not awful, and I really don't care much about the matchups when it comes to the Patriots because they always have an elite game plan ready to go, so they always seem to have success. Jets are 17th DVOA versus the pass, and they're allowing 18.3 points per game to quarterbacks this season, which is pretty much middle of the pack. Tom Brady's been great for fantasy this season too. He scored mid to upper 20s in 5 out of 6 games this season, which is, besides one terrible outing versus Buffalo, it was a major outlier game though. He had 4.7 points. That's not going to happen again. Every other game he's been fine, but the mid 20s at least. He will be without one of his primary weapons in Josh Gordon, but hasn't really been much of a factor this season anyway, and he was just fine without him last week, so I don't see this being much of an issue for him. I wouldn't say he's a lock for the captain spot, but I think he's a lock for the flex spot at the very least, because I really don't see a way Tom Brady flops in this matchup. But I understand using someone else that's cheaper in your captain spot because it opens up your lineup and makes a well-rounded lineup instead of like more of a top-heavy lineup with Tom Brady. So I understand if you want to use like someone like Sonny Michel or James White or even someone like Jacoby Meyers if you want to get funky, or Philip Dorsett. So I do like Tom Brady a lot, definitely in the flex spot. If you want to put him in the captain spot, I don't have a problem with that either. He's just very expensive. Then he's got his wide receiver 1, Julian Edelman, at 11,200. He's the second most expensive guy in the slate, which, again, deservedly so. But you got to love Edelman here, especially with Josh Gordon out. With Gordon in, he was dominating the team's targets with a team-high 24% target share compared to Gordon's 15%. He also has a team-high 27% market share of the team's air yards, and the Jets have been pretty below average this year when it comes to facing wideouts, as they are allowing 37.5 points per game to receivers, which is 12th most in the league. The Jets have also been struggling when it comes to covering slot receivers as well, as they've been giving up 21.1 points per game to them, and that's pretty below average, and that's where Edelman plays the majority of the time, 66% of the time. Though with Gordon out, Jacoby Meyers may be in line for some extra slot work, but I still like Edelman a lot, and I know the price is steep, but I think he's fine. He's rock solid. He gets the job done. He's got a high ceiling as well. 23 points, 28 points, 7 points. That's kind of gross, but that was against Buffalo when Tom Brady had 4 points. 19 points versus the Jets week 3, 9 points versus Miami week 2, and 16 week 1. So, he did fine in this matchup earlier in the season. He had 19 points. Not much has changed in a few weeks. So, definitely like Julian Edelman. You can captain him for sure. He's just really pricey, but I think he's definitely a guy where you want to fit in your lineups, at least try to get him in your lineups. Then we have a pretty big price drop off here. So, we go from the 11K range straight to the 9K range. So, we got LeVeon Bell at 9,200. And I love Bell from a volume standpoint. He's averaging 23.6 touches per game, which is third in the league, only behind Christian McCaffrey and Leonard Fournette. But I gotta say, this is a really rough matchup for him, and he hasn't exactly been efficient this season with his awful 3 yards per carry. That's awful. So for reference, guys like Nick Chubb, Leonard Fournette, and Dalvin Cook are all above 5 yards per carry. So it's pretty bad. Le'Veon Bell's 2 yards behind all of those kind of guys, which is pretty substantial. And like I said, though, this matchup is brutal. The Patriots are only giving up 13 points per game to the running back position this season, which is second fewest allowed, only behind the 49ers. They're also third DVOA versus the run. The bright side here is that Darnold is back, which is a major upgrade for the offense, as we all saw last week as they beat the Cowboys. Which, with Darnold being back, it's just a huge benefit to Bell and the whole offense in general, as the drives will stay alive longer and there's more scoring opportunities. Not sure there's going to be too many scoring opportunities versus the Patriots, but still, in general, it's nice to have Sam Darnold back. Despite the tough matchup, I do like Bell at this price. He's pretty cheap, and he's heavily involved in the passing game outside of last week where he had 1 target. But, week 1 with Darnold, he had 9 targets, so it's not like Sam Darnold doesn't target the running back position at all. And on the season, he's got a pretty massive 22% target share, and that's a lot higher than some receivers. So definitely got like Le'Veon Bell's floor here. I'm not sure how big the ceiling's going to be, but I think he's one of the safer plays on the board, and he's not priced to the moon either. I really don't think he's going to have an efficient game, but I think he gets you there on volume alone. He should get you 20-plus touches, and I think he's going to be fine. And I don't even expect him to score in this game. So if he scores, obviously I think he's a great play, but even if he doesn't score, I think he's going to be fine. I'm obviously not in love with him. I probably wouldn't captain him, although I don't think it's the worst captain option. If he gets 20 touches and he gets 5 catches or 6, 7 catches, and he scores 9,200, I think he's going to be pretty good. I don't know what his price is for the captain spot, but he's third most expensive guy on the slate. So, I mean, there's what kind of a value there, but I don't think he's a fantastic play, but he's going to be high owned and he's going to get a lot of volume, so don't mind it. Sam Darnold at 9K. So, I actually like Darnold, and I think he's actually a pretty solid quarterback, and despite this matchup being downright awful, I'm going to plug him in the flex spot more than likely, because I do like using cheapest quarterbacks on showdown slates. New England has been elite versus quarterbacks this season, though. They're only allowing 7.8 points per game, which is fewest in the league. So I'm not saying they don't have a great defense, but hear me out. They've had a pretty soft schedule this season. We're talking they played the Dolphins, the Jets without Sam Darnold, the Bills, the Redskins, and the Giants. That's pretty soft. And trust me, I'm not going on my way on a regular slate to attack the Patriots defense, but on a showdown slate, I got no issues with Darnold at this price point, and it was nice to see him have a pretty solid game last week versus a tougher Dallas defense last week. Not saying Dallas's defense is tougher than the Patriots, but just in general, they're a tougher defense. And I know a lot of that came from a 92-yard bomb to Robbie Anderson, but he does have that upside every single week with this home run hitter. Tough matchup, but at 9K, I think he can get you a couple touchdowns here, maybe some in garbage time. So definitely like Sam Darnold at this price point. Josh Gordon's going to be out, so obviously he's not an option. We got Sonny Michel here at 7,800, and I actually like him quite a bit this week. So first off, Sexy Rexy is out, which is a boost for Michel as he's seen 3 targets each week in his absence, which is something we haven't seen from him with Burkhead playing, so we don't have to worry about that. I also like the volume he's getting at this price point, averaging over 20 touches the past 2 to 3 weeks, and he also saw over 50% of the snaps last week, while White only was in the 30% range. Patriots are 9.5 point favorites, so game script would suggest the Patriots can run at the end of this game, which would suggest a good game from Sonny Michel. And man, did he have some bad touchdown variance last week versus New York. You know, if he would have got those touchdowns last week, I mean, Sonny Michel's probably looking like one of the best plays on the board, but he was getting vultured. He could have easily had 3 touchdowns, like I said. Brandon Bolden and Tom Brady had other plans, QB sneaks, and then random Brandon Bolden touchdown. It happens. That's what the Patriots do, so we have to get used to that. If we do play Sonny Michel, there is a risk for that. But, you know, he's going to get a lot of volume. The Jets are 9th DVOA versus the run, and they're only allowing 26 points per game to running backs, which is a league average, so it's not like I'm terrified of this matchup. I'm not, like, too excited about it, but the Patriots can overcome most matchups and should be able to scheme Sonny Michel, you know, good running lane. So I do like him, and volume tends to work out in fantasy, so like Michel at this price point, you could captain him. I don't mind that at all. You know, the Patriots get a big lead early. They're going to want to run the ball a lot. Sonny Michel gets 20-25 carries, falls into the end zone a couple times. I think you'd be pretty happy with that. James White at 7,400. I like James White a lot. I think he's going to be one of the more popular plays on the slate, but, you know, he's a PPR monster. It's what he does, and I think he's one of the safest plays on the board. And I'd also say he's not a bad captain spot either. He's scored double digits in every single game so far this season, and he has just such a safe role in this passing game for Tom Brady. I mean, if you look at his targets, 9 targets, 10 targets, 4 targets, 7 targets, he's been great. And if you look at his game log, 13 points, 13 points, 13 points, 11 points, 13 points. I mean, he is rock solid safe, and if he starts scoring some touchdowns, you're going to probably be pretty happy. I mean, I know he had a touchdown versus Miami, but, you know, with all the targets he gets, I think he's a pretty safe play. And I mean, these are wide receiver numbers, targets he gets. He has got a 21% target share, which is second on the team, only behind Edelman. And with Gordon out, I think he's a super safe play because I think he's a really safe bet for near double-digit targets because, you know, they're going to throw – there's just more targets to go around, and they love James White. I like the price here, so I think James White makes a lot of sense. So I'd flex him. I'd captain him. I think he's going to be one of the more popular guys on the slate. I know last week when they were on the Thursday night game, James White was a really popular captain, so I could see that happening again. He's pretty cheap. So definitely like James White. Patriots defense comes in at a monster 7,200 price tag. So I'd say they're interesting this week because they are priced really high. And Darnold is back for the Jets, so it's obviously a downgrade for the Jets for the Patriots defense. But I do still think they're viable, but I don't love this price, and I would rather play someone like White at captain or just in the flex spot in general than playing for a defense. But I'm not completely against it. Patriots defense has been downright amazing this season, but if they don't score a touchdown, I gotta say, I don't think you'll be too happy at this price point. But they have scored 5 touchdowns this season, but it is hard to bank on those, so you kind of have to get lucky with one of those. But they have elite pieces all around. They got a great secondary, great run defense, great everything. So I'm not saying to fade them, but I'm just saying if they don't score, I think you may be a bit disappointed because I do think the Jets can put up, you know, at least 2 touchdowns and a field goal, which, you know, if the Patriots aren't getting a ton of turnovers and don't score, it's probably not going to get the job done at 7,200, but if they end up getting one of those pick sixes, you know, block a punt for a touchdown, I think they'll be fine. So it's just kind of up to you if you want to pay this much for a defense. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. It's looking like I probably won't, but Just depends how roster construction looks. 'Cause I haven't tried to make a lineup yet, so maybe they fit nice, maybe they don't. If you want to play Sony Michel, the Patriots defense would be a good correlation play because you'd hope the Patriots defense absolutely shut out the Jets. Now, if you're playing a bunch of receiving options for the Patriots, you probably wouldn't want the Jets to get completely blown out so they don't just run the ball the rest of the second half. So maybe you'd want to avoid the Patriots defense in that, and run it back with like one of the Jets receivers like Robbie Anderson or Le'Veon Bell, Sam Darnold. So, in showdowns you want to have good correlations. So you just kind of have to build a game script for yourself. So then the next guy we want to talk about is Jamison Crowder at 7K. And, Darnold loves the guy. He just loves throwing the ball to slot receivers. He's been doing it in his whole short career so far. Crowder saw a 28% target share last week, and on the season he's got a 26% target share. Also, week 1, he had an absurd 17 targets from Darnold, but, man, this is a bad matchup for all these Jets receivers. They're going up against this elite secondary, the Patriots. Crowder's in the slot 72% of the time, and that means he's going to be lined up with slot corner Jonathan Jones most of the time, who is PFF's number 2 rated corner this season. And he's been downright nasty to opposing receivers, allowing a near league low yards per route covered and fantasy points per route covered this season. In general, receivers as a whole, they're only allowing 27.2 points per game to wide receivers, which is third fewest in the league. He should see volume, but I just don't know how I just don't think he's going to be very efficient with these, and I don't know how valuable these targets will be. But again, if the Patriots get a huge lead, the defense might soften up a little bit, and Jamison Crowder gets you about 7 to 8 catches just from some short routes on softer coverage. They're dropping back. So I don't hate him, but at 7K, it's a really tough matchup. So not saying to fade him, but not one of my favorite plays. It's a really, really rough matchup. Robbie Anderson, he's got more big play potential than Jamison Crowder. Jamison Crowder is more of like the safe underneath route guy. Robbie Anderson's the home run hitter. You guys saw it last week. He had that 92-yard touchdown from a bomb from Sam Darnold versus Dallas. He owns a 40% market share of the team's air yards this season, which is actually 5th in the entire NFL. And he's only had Sam Darnold twice this season. So he's doing that with Luke Folk. Not like he was actually producing much, but it's still nice to see that he's getting all these deep shots. But again, this matchup is absolutely awful. But he did see a 19% target share last week, but we're really just banking on big plays from him. And like I said, this matchup is absolutely awful. He draws PFF's second worst matchup of the week, only behind his teammate Jamison Crowder. He's going to see a good deal of Jason McCourty and Stephon Gilmore, which is just absolutely scary. It scares me. They're shutdown corners. Although I will say Golden Tate did beat them on a big bomb last week. I did not have Golden Tate because I was scared of the matchup, and he had a big bomb, so that sucked, kind of killed me. So I think Robbie Anderson's fine if they can hit on a home run ball. He's going to be definitely worth his price. So I do think he's worth a shot just because of his big play potential. And he's a talented receiver, and obviously he's going to be much better with Sam Darnold at quarterback because he can hit him on the deep ball. So don't hate Robbie Anderson. I actually think he's pretty talented. Philip Dorsett at 6,600. I actually like him quite a bit tonight, especially with Josh Gordon out. He's been consistently solid in this offense, and he has flashed upside so far. He's had 9 targets, 7 targets, 3 targets, 4 targets. He's had 2 big games of 18 and 25, and then 2 lower games at 6.9 and 3.9. Then he was out the week prior. Should have a bigger role in this offense, and I think is a fine play at this price for someone who could dance with near double-digit targets. And if you're gonna get double-digit targets on this offense, you're definitely worth a shot. And you're only 6,600. You're half the price of Julian Edelman. I'm not saying to fade Julian Edelman, but you're getting half the price of Julian Edelman here, and you got the upside here. So I don't mind Philip Dorsett. I think he's a fine play, and he offers you some salary relief as well. Cheap Patriots exposure. Obviously, you can't play these 2 quarterbacks, but Jacoby Meyers at 5,600. He's $1,000 cheaper than Philip Dorsett, and I like this guy too. I think he does. He benefits with no Josh Gordon. He should be the wide receiver 3 in this offense. He should be in the slot a lot as well. So I do prefer Philip Dorsett, but I'm not saying I prefer Philip Dorsett just because he's going to be in the slot, but I do prefer Dorsett to him. Just a little bit, but I don't hate the idea of playing Jacoby Meyers. He should be fine. And, he's had some okay games just last week, but 5 points. I mean, this is when Josh Gordon was playing. So, I mean, for being like the wide receiver 5, 3 points, 5 points, 0, 1.6, 9.4. It's not terrible. He got thrusted into a bigger role last week against the Giants, and he got 9 points. So I think he's going to be fine. I don't think he just absolutely breaks the slate unless he catches a touchdown or 2, which, with the Patriots, it's usually the guy you least expect. So Jacoby Meyers is probably going to go nuts just for that reason. So I would want exposure to him. If you're making one lineup, might be a little bit iffy in there, but, I think he's great getting some exposure to if you're building multiple lineups on a showdown slate. So don't mind Jacoby Meyers whatsoever. And, like I said, the Jets are struggling versus slot receivers this season, and he's going to be in the slot some, so I think he's fine. He's a poor man's Edelman. I mean, like a poor man's Edelman, but still, he's going to catch passes from Tom Brady, so I don't hate it. Demaryius Thomas at 5K even. He's been okay since being activated. He saw 9 targets and 4 targets, and that equates to an 18% target share. And then last week, he had 12% target share. And I'm not too excited about him. Obviously, given them awful matchup, but if they are playing catch-up and throwing a lot, then he'll get some targets. I'm just not sure how valuable they will be. So not someone I'm in love with. I don't think he has a ton of upside unless he catches a touchdown. I don't think he's going to be a big play guy, but, he's kind of If you fit your lineup at the end, you can throw him in. I wouldn't be against it, but not someone I'm looking, going out to play just over other people. Ben Watson at 4,400. So he got, he's off the team. Now he's back. His both starting tight ends are out. Izzo has a concussion. Then Lacoste has that knee issue. So they brought back Ben Watson, and we have no idea how he's going to be played or used in this offense, but he is a solid pass catcher, and he may be worth a flyer. Jets have been pretty stingy versus tight ends this season. They're only allowing 9.4 points per game to the position, which is top 10 in the league. So that's not like I'm excited for him, but he should see a few catches. And, it's always someone you don't expect for the Patriots. So Ben Watson could go out and have a big game. If he doesn't catch a touchdown, you're probably going to be a little bit disappointed. But, if he gets you 40 yards, 3 catches, it's not the worst at 4,400, but it's not the best either. The kickers are what they are. If they get their field goals, they get their field goals, and they become nice value plays. I do prefer the Patriots kicker, obviously, Nugent, because there's going to be more scoring opportunities. Ficken, I can't imagine the Jets are going to score too many touchdowns, so maybe they get some field goals if they can move the ball a little bit, but I do have concerns about that, so obviously I'm going to go with the Patriots kicker. Brandon Bolden, he'll probably just troll us with a couple goal line carries and a random touchdown or two, and all of us Sony Michel owners are going to be tweeting at him. So that could always happen, but obviously I'm not going to go out of my way to play Brandon Bolden. Jets defense, obviously not. Chris Herndon is doubtful, so it doesn't look like he's going to be playing. That leads us to Ryan Griffin. Ty Montgomery, I'm not going to play Ty Montgomery. LeVeon Bell just dominates the backfield there. Ryan Griffin at 1,400 with Chris Herndon out. I mean, he's going to be the main tight end, and he's playing roughly 90% of the snaps, so I mean, he's going to be out there, and obviously I like that at 1,400. It's just not like he's a big part of the offense, though. He did see 3 targets last week for 11 points and a touchdown, so it's not awful, and I actually don't think he's the worst play in the world. I mean, New England's obviously been great versus tight ends. They're allowing 5 points per game, which is the fewest in the league. Tough matchup, but at 1,400, and you're going to give me about 80-90% of the snaps, I mean, you're fine. He's going to probably have to score a touchdown, but if he does, at 1,400, he's going to unlock your lineup, and you probably got studs like Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, LeVeon Bell, those kind of guys in. So don't hate the idea of using him as a punt play, but not too excited about it. But I think he's fine, and I think that's just about all the people I want to talk about. Obviously, I don't want to play any of these guys. So low as I'm probably going to go this week is Ryan Griffin, and it's kind of gross if that. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. Remember to leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, I guess I haven't made a lineup yet, so I just want to see what roster construction would look like. So let's say we throw in James White at the captain. Now, don't just use this lineup and plug it in. I'm just playing around. I have no idea yet. So let's see, James White, Tom Brady, maybe get Le'Veon Bell in there. Maybe someone like Philip Dorsett. 5,700 left. This actually isn't the worst. Maybe we want to go with a kicker. That leaves us 7,700 left. You could go Patriots Defense. Again, just don't plug these in. I'm just playing around. There's not a lot of thought into these. Maybe we can actually fit in Julian Edelman. I don't know. 3,400 left. Maybe not. Nugent. Yeah, 3,100. That's not looking promising. So maybe you don't want to go all those guys. Maybe we can drop that to someone like Sony Michel, play both running backs. You could do that. Maybe Ben Watson. I don't know. Just playing around. But I do like James White in the captain spot. If you want to throw in Tom Brady, I mean, obviously that's going to be pretty tough to do. You fit in someone like Sam Darnold, Le'Veon Bell. Probably won't be able to fit in Edelman here, but you can fit in James White maybe. Phew. Yeah, I don't know. 5,600 left. Jacoby Meyers. That's not the worst thing in the world. But anyway, just playing around, guys, so don't just go and plug this in. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video. Remember to leave a like, and if it was helpful, leave a like. If it wasn't, like I said, you can always leave a dislike. It only hurts my feelings a little bit, so not the worst thing in the world, but just a little bit. And that's going to be it. So I'll see you guys in the next video. I wish you guys the best of luck, and have a great Monday.